There's been a number of murders over the last year that have raised concerns about an organization, a neo-Nazi group that is growing in the United States. Now, currently, what we know about this group is that it's small. There are dozens of individuals who have joined in, and they are not only neo-Nazis, but also very much anti-government. And they plan on overthrowing the government and doing so in a violent way. Now, we know this because it's in their manifesto, it's online, it's something that they openly preach about time and time again, and it seems as though no one's really onto them or doing anything about it. Now, the recent story that drew attention to this neo-Nazi group involved a 19-year-old student in Orange County, California, that was found stabbed to death. And his name was Blaze Bernstein, and the suspect who's been arrested in connection to his murder is a man by the name of Sam Woodward. Now, Sam Woodward, who you can see there, is a member of this neo-Nazi group, and I'm gonna tell you a little more about them right now. The name is Atomwaffen Division, a relatively new Charles Manson-obsessed neo-Nazi outfit that defines itself as a revolutionary national socialist organization centered around political activism and the practice of an autonomous fascist lifestyle. Now, what you saw there was in quotes because that is what they state themselves about their own group. They have the ultimate aim of overthrowing the US government through the use of terrorism and guerrilla warfare. Now, Woodward, the man who has been arrested in connection to the murder of Blaze Bernstein, joined the hate group back in 2016 and attended a 3-day training camp with other members in Texas.
During 2016, I wonder why. Can't quite tell why people were encouraged to do that at that time. All right, what else happened?
So during that training, they openly talk about the need for a violent overthrow of the government, their hatred for minority groups and anyone who isn't a white male is very open and apparent. And they also talk about how they're against so-called keyboard warriors. They don't want people to do activism from the comfort of their own homes behind a computer screen. They want people to take physical action. So there was the death of Blaze Bernstein, and then there's also something interesting that we talked about a couple months ago, the murder of these two parents in Virginia, Reston, Virginia. So the Atomwaffen connection has also been reported in the bizarre murder of Scott Fricker and Buckley Kuhn Fricker in their Reston, Virginia home in December. That story involved a teenage girl who was involved with a man who was also part of this group. And apparently once the parents realized that he was this neo-Nazi, they advised their daughter to stop seeing him. He retaliated by showing up to their home and literally murdering them.
So the camp that they went to, they themselves called a Doomsday Hate Camp, and they took a picture there wearing skull masks and doing Nazi salutes. The quote that Anna read you about guerrilla warfare and terrorism is their own quote.
Yes.
So they say we are terrorists and we're looking to overthrow the American government. Now, Anna's right, it's not a huge group. Best that people can tell, groups like the Anti-Defamation League are tracking them. They have about 80 members, okay? But with those 80 members, they've already done significant damage. By the way, the Atomwaffen in German means atomic weapon. And so there's the Blaze Bernstein murder, and let me just pause there for a second. So they hate blacks and Latinos and Muslims, you're not surprised by that. But until you get into this extreme right-wing neo-Nazi movement, you don't realize how much they hate the Jews. And that comes up over and over again. Watch my interview with David Duke on TYT Interviews. I was surprised, I thought he was gonna talk about blacks and people crossing the border and all this stuff. No, obsessed with Jewish Americans, obsessed. So Blaze Bernstein happens to be Jewish, he's killed in a hate crime. And so it always comes back to that. So there was the Frickers who were murdered, another guy in this small little group, but that's 2 sets of murders, 3 people killed, according to investigators so far. That is what they believe happened. And then there's this interesting case of in Tampa, Devin Arthurs, who killed 2 of his roommates, Jeremy Himmelman and Andrew Wunschuk. and there was a fourth roommate, Brandon Russell. Turns out they were all part of Atomwaffen. Now, in this crazy twist to the story, there's another story we had reported on. It turns out that Arthur's flipped on the roommates. Now, look, in order to be in this group, you have to be damaged in some way. I mean, for like your life's got to be going so miserable. You got to blame it on the Jews, the Muslims, the blacks, the Latinos. I mean, I know that a lot of things are blamed on Muslims and Latinos, particularly these days in mass. But for those folks, a lot of things are going wrong in their life, right? Yep. That they need a scapegoat. So, but in order to be in this division where you're saying you're a terrorist neo-Nazi, there's got to be something particularly wrong. So Devin Arthurs then flips and decides that he's going to go in a different direction and he's going to become an extreme Muslim. What? And he murders his fellow neo-Nazis, but they don't get Brandon Russell, who's the fourth roommate. And Devin Arthurs tells a story about how they were going to blow up a nuclear power plant. And the authorities are like, I don't know about that. And it turns out Brandon Russell had an explosive device.
That's right.
And so there was a real plot. These are hardcore terrorists. There's all these killings all across the country in different places in the country, plus the plot to blow up a nuclear power plant. So this is incredibly dangerous. Now, let us pause for a second. Imagine we knew of a group that had publicly declared that they were Muslim radicals, that there were 80 of them, and they said they were terrorists, and they were looking to overthrow the American government, and had done these murders throughout the country. Now, how do you think it would get covered in the media?
No, but I mean, not only covered in the media, but talked about by our elected officials. And that's the thing that concerns me the most, because while I think that it's completely fine to track extremists of all backgrounds, I don't care if you're Muslim, I don't care if you're Christian, I don't care. If you are planning any type of plot that harms people, that murders people, that hurts anyone, then the government should be tracking you, should be investigating you, should be doing anything and everything to prevent it. But in this case, it seems as though this is an organization that is openly talking about causing serious harm to people. And what's happening? I mean, why are they able to carry out these murders without people investigating them and preventing that? What is the whole point of the NSA? Why are they spying on every single American indiscriminately? Right? Why? It's because of national security. We want to keep people safe. You have this group of people openly talking about how they want to cause harm to others, how they want to violently overthrow the government. Is anyone watching them? Is anyone tracking them? Is anyone keeping an eye on what's going on? That's what I want to know. The media is corrupt. The media is doing a crappy job in covering this. Good on the Washington Post for covering this story in their paper. But overall, I'm not really seeing much attention drawn to this.
Are you kidding me? You know cable news would go apoplectic over this. Oh my God, we found a cell of 80 declared terrorist Muslims in the country, and they've already committed all of these murders in different parts of the country. Oh my God, the terrorists are here and they're looking to overthrow the government. Well, and it would be over and over and over and over again. Oh, neo-Nazis, it's not a big deal. They're just murdering random Jews and parents and etc. and planning to blow things up. No big deal. They're all from Atomwaffen. So, okay, and then Trump says, we got to ban Muslims until we figure out what the hell is going on. That's what he said during the campaign. Then he does a Muslim ban, finds out that's illegal, and then he goes, yeah, I meant a travel ban, right? So banning all Muslims. In this case, you don't have to ban all right-wingers. You don't have to investigate all right-wingers, and we would never agree to that, right? But here is a specific group of neo-Nazis who say we would like to do terrorism, and they have already 3 of their members, 2 members and 1, I guess, former member, right, has already killed all these people. And but there's no investigation until we figure out what the hell is going on. And I hope the FBI, which from time to time does a good job of tracking down plots, sometimes they unfoil Muslim terrorist plots, which they stop at a greater rate, but that's good. I'm thrilled that they're stopping those plots. Right-wing plots, right-wing extremist plots, which they block at a lower percentage, but still, from time to time, they'll catch like the guys who were planning to blow up the apartment building where Somalis were living in, I think it was Kansas. So some good work there. But this would appear to be something that we should all be concerned about and should be the target of an actual investigation based on credible evidence, rather than, I don't like this group of people, so let's demagogue over it. You just watched a video by the Young Turks, the home of the revolution. If you'd like to get the full show, come join us and become a member. tytnetwork.com/join.